Alright.
Dude, stop! Let me go! Dude! Let me go! Dude!
Foot die! Foot die!
Dude! Let me go! Baby! On the head!
Ah! We've got prints and we've got awesome shirts, along with pillows, beach towels, and more. All available at the Underdog stores. Get yourself some awesome merch today. Every purchase helps support the channel and you look awesome while doing it. How's it going, everyone? My name is True Underdog, and our boy Spawn is showing up a lot more at tournaments lately. And as a huge comic book nerd, that makes me very happy. I'm grinning ear to ear every time I see him on screen. So without any further ado, let's talk about what makes Spawn so powerful lately. So the variation I saw most players using at tournament is what you see on screen. We have Charging Hellspawn and we have the Letha Glide. So first up, let's talk about Charging Hellspawn. Obviously one of the best combo extenders in the entire game, simply because Spawn himself does such easy damage. Even if you don't want to master all the different glide combos, your boy Spawn is still doing some pretty decent damage every time he touches the opponent. However, do be careful though, because Breakaway can eat this move's lunch. If the opponent breaks away immediately and you still commit to the amplify, you're in a lot of trouble, but the good news is you can actually delay when you amplify it. And that's why at a lot of these tournaments you'll see the player wait to amplify, because even if the opponent does break away late, the Spawn player is still pretty much unpunishable, and also every single hit lands from the enhanced attack too. So that's pretty much a win-win situation. Not only does every hit land, but look how far away the opponent is. There's no way they're punishing me unless they're near the corner. And honestly, even then, I don't think it's possible as long as you delay your amplify. And also don't forget, Spawn can just take Breakaway off the table by ending his combos with Fatal Phantasm instead, and he's at +5, so just a great way to finish your combos and leave the opponent standing. Or hey, if you feel like it, don't forget you can amplify, and if you do, you're getting some really chunky damage. Now it does knock them down, so it's not always the best situation, but look at that 27% unbreakable damage, that's not half bad. And unfortunately, his Charging Hellspawn does replace his armor break, which normally is universal if you don't equip Charging Hellspawn, but even so, I think here we have one of those rare circumstances where you actually are better off just getting rid of the armor break, because Charging Hellspawn is just that good. And of course, the combos only get better with his Letha Glide, which is why I think a lot of pro players still choose to rock this variation. Because don't get me wrong, Spawn does have some really awesome custom abilities, but Letha Glide is just so great for some flashy and damaging combos. And I'm not joking, just check out this basic hit confirm combo and look how much damage it does for just one bar. Oh my god, over 40% from mid-screen, and that was a bread and butter hit confirm. There was zero risk there as long as you practice, because this first string takes a very long time, so if it's blocked, you just do the projectile instead, and look at that, -11, and from further away it can be even tougher to punish. So already a lot of players can't punish that, but just to be safe you can spin the bar, and look at that, we're now neutral on block. And also keep in mind, you can delay the projectile, and it catches a lot of players off guard when you do that. So yeah, not only does Spawn have ridiculously high damage combos, but he is also the king at around jumping distance. This guy dominates the mid-range because a lot of his moves don't even risk his own hurt box. So look at this move. This move is amazing, right? And while it is very, very unsafe, you can just spend a bar, and look at that, -9 with all this pushback from this far away, -5, completely safe on block as long as you space it correctly. I'm telling you, Spawn is the king at mid-range combat. And once again, you can choose to amplify, and you will actually be plus on block. Look at that, +4, and I didn't even delay it, which you can, and now I'm at +4 still. So I guess you can't get much more plus frames, but you can catch someone trying to do something after they block the first projectile. Or put simply, as long as you space things correctly, Spawn is very tough to punish, and then as long as you keep one bar of offensive meter at all times, he is completely unpunishable in most situations. But let's go back to the combos real quick, because once again, Spawn is just the king at combo damage, including if he lands a crushing blow. Just look at this damage right here. Oh my god, 44% for a simple down 2 crushing blow. So if they miss a throw or whiff a high attack, look at all that damage they're eating. It is ridiculous. And don't you dare forget about the throw crushing blow, because Spawn is one of the few characters who gets stronger in the corner. He's just a jerk like that. Oh my god, 53% for a single bar. And you might be thinking, well, they'll just break a forward throw every single time when they have you cornered, right? Easy enough. Well, if you know that, just do a back throw and now they're cornered. So Spawn has a great mind game when he himself is in the corner. Forward throw, crazy good damage, and the opponent knows that, so they're gonna try and break a forward throw, but nope, it's a back throw and now they're in the corner. And of course your boy Spawn got good corner damage too, because once Spawn has you cornered, he can do lethal glide after kicks and also follow up with the kick as well and get even more damage. So I guess in summary, not only is Spawn king of mid-range combat, but he's also king of both the corners. And all of this juicy damage is possible thanks to charging Hellspawn and lethal glide working together. But now just for fun, let's look at some fatal blow combos, because your boy Spawn has some pretty easy fatal blow combos. In fact, I don't think you're supposed to even use lethal glide in this situation. And oh my god, just look at that, 54%. So that's why you're seeing Spawn at tournaments too. His damage is just crazy high. But now let's say you don't want either of those moves. You don't want charging Hellspawn because you like having access to an armor break that can also extend combos when you amplify it. That can be a really good option. Or hey, maybe you just don't want the lethal glide because you're not good at those combos, or you just don't want that extra damage. You think it's better to have some mix-ups. Well, in that case, I think Raising Hell is a fantastic alternative, because for starters, Spawn has this amazing overhead, but the issue is it's very punishable on block at -12, so it's very risky, and a lot of players know about this meterless combo starter, so they're gonna block high all the time. So that's normally a big issue, but thankfully you have Raising Hell, which hits low and it's pretty much unreactable, so you have to fuzzy guard this thing, but it's a very good mix-up in that situation. And sure, it is pretty unsafe on block when done by itself, but when you amplify it, it's actually completely safe at -7, and just to make things even better, you can totally see if it's blocked and then choose to amplify it on reaction. You don't have to commit to spending 1 bar just to keep yourself safe. Instead, you can simply see if it hits, and if it doesn't, just let it rock like normal, but if it's blocked, you can see that and then just spin the bar and you're completely safe. A really good mix-up. And not to mention, it's also a decent zoning tool because it still hits low and covers the entire screen, so that's pretty interesting. And can I delay it last minute? Ooh, you can. Does it do damage? Ooh, look at that. It totally works and it combos. I like that. So like 80% from far away. I don't think it's better than his default projectile though. This hits high though, so they can duck that. You go, no, here's a low. They're gonna react to it most of the time, but it's just nice to have more ways to dominate from mid-screen. Once again, Spawn is king of mid-range combat, and Raising Hell is great for that. And then one more awesome mix-up tool is his command grab, the Hell Chain. This is perhaps the most far-reaching command grab in the entire game, considering Spawn does not leap at the opponent like Baraka, so once again, his hurt box is completely safe, so a really good command grab. And while its damage isn't the best by itself, you can spin the bar and get a pretty respectable amount. 15% is not bad, and I think you all know if you hold down the button, you will turn invisible, which is awesome, because not only can the opponent not see your attacks coming, but you can also get a crushing blow if you amplify a second time while still invisible. And as you just saw, the opponent's already half dead from that single mix-up situation. You went invisible, and then you go for either the overhead, you whiff the first move on purpose, that way it's just a raw overhead, or you can go for a low, and once again, you whiff the first hit, and the opponent pretty much has to guess, unless maybe there's a sound difference, but I don't know, and they gotta have some like really good headphones to even tell the difference, right? So yeah, Spawn can grab you and then go invisible, and now he has a 50-50 situation. Now he won't get as much damage off of the low, but it still is a mix-up, so that's something to keep in mind. And actually, if you kept the charging Hellspawn, then you would have a combo in both situations. You'd have the meterless overhead starter, or you'd have the low into the Hellspawn and get damage that way. So if you ask me, having Hell Chain combined with charging Hellspawn could be a very good mix. Now unfortunately, Hell Chain does have a very big weakness. As you can see, it will whiff on the opponent if they are crouching. In fact, I think it misses even if they crouch and hold block. Yeah, this thing misses completely unless you are standing. So that's a pretty big weakness, but that's why you mix it up with his overheads, because that makes the opponent want to stand up and you throw him that way. It's honestly a very good tick throw mix-up. So if you want to keep the charging Hellspawn to have all of your combos, but you don't really care about the lethal glide, you can go for the chain. It's a great low mix-up, or you can go for the command grab, which is also a fantastic mix-up. I think both of these options have merit. For me personally, even though I do love command grabs, I'm a grappler at heart, I do think the low is still better overall, because once again, the option to keep yourself safe on reaction to block is just a really good option to have. Very few characters can actually save themselves in this manner, so it's just just great to have it in your toolkit. And you could also consider the Letha stance as well. It's not the best in my opinion though, it's very unsafe on block. It is a damaging way to end combos, to be sure. Like look at that, 15%. So for standing combos, it can be very useful, but I just don't think it offers the versatility of the other options that you have. So it can still be fun, but it's not my favorite, and I don't really recommend it over other custom abilities. And next up, I wanted to talk about the other custom abilities that we don't see in Kombat League because they weren't available. I see a lot of you in the comment section say to cover the other options, so let's go ahead and do that. So for starters, we have Soul Forfeit. I'm kind of surprised this move wasn't banned. I think because it permanently removes one of your offensive bars, and that's a very big weakness. So I think NetherRealm just thought this move balanced itself out. But in case you don't play Spawn and you have no idea what this move does, it gives him access to all of his crushing blows regardless of their requirements. All you have to do is land the move, and look at that. I can now just get that throw crushing blow from mid-screen, and I'm still getting around 34%. Not bad. And keep in mind that this buff lasts for a very long time. In fact, I do believe it lasts for the entire round. So already that's pretty strong. I kinda wish it lasted the entire match because you do lose the offensive bar for the entire match. So if you ask me, that's a bit harsh because you lose the bar for the entire game, but you don't get to have the crushing blows for the entire game. And also keep in mind the crushing blows do slightly less damage as well. So of course that's one more thing to consider. But even so, some of these combos and hit confirms can be pretty good. So check this out. This does actually combo, and that's not half bad. And once again, you're still getting some pretty high damage for just one bar. So yeah, there's only one bar available, but even so, the damage is very respectable. And in fact, Spawn's punish game gets a bit better too. He already has this one for punishing moves, but you can also go for this string right here, which is 10 frames on startup, and the full string will actually give you a crushing blow. So that's two different crushing blows that Spawn can get just for punishing an unsafe move, and 10 frames is pretty fast, so he can punish you in a variety of ways now with this move. And just to answer the elephant in the room, yes, you can chain these together. So for example, you could land this one and get some pretty scary damage. Now, because the damage on the crushing blows is nerfed, I don't recommend actually doing this most of the time because the damage is not what you'd think it is. However, it would be a good idea if the opponent is low on health and you just want to make sure they're dead. If they have no defensive bar, you just want to kill them in one long flashy combo, it's definitely possible. However, next up we have a move that I don't think is very viable, and that's the plasma pool. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain my resources because this refills my gauges faster. So check this out. I'm getting my meter a bit faster than normal, and this does make Spawn a very annoying zoner. So if you're fighting a player whose character cannot get around stuff like this, then it could be worthwhile, but I don't think it's a great custom ability, but only because Spawn has other custom abilities that I think are better overall. I don't think it's a terrible move. If it was there by default, then I'd say it's a great move, but the fact that it costs a slot, I just don't think it's worth it. But at the very least, it is pretty unique as far as moves go. And then finally, to end off this video, we have what I call the Untouchables. I don't recommend using these special moves now that custom combat is possible. So Fallen Angel, it's a dive kick. It's an interesting dive kick because he attacks with his cape, but it's very unsafe on block and the damage is just not that respectable in my opinion. And then we have Guns Blazing. So this move is basically an anti-air, but it's pretty slow all things considered. It's not going to catch jumps on reaction from up close, and while you can amplify it, the damage you get is not nearly as crazy as other options. So yeah, I don't recommend this move. And then finally we have Blaze of Glory. So this move does actually have some merit to it. I wouldn't call it an untouchable most of the time because you can cancel it, and that's a decent mix-up, and also it parries low attacks. So against certain characters, this could actually be decent as long as they commit to that low option, but it only parries lows, so just keep that in mind. It does give you a crushing blow if you pull that off, but I don't think the damage is really worth it. So against most characters, it's not the best option for your custom build. It does hit low, so it's a mix-up, but it's also very punishable on block, so just keep that in mind. It has a much bigger risk and a lower reward if you ask me, because as you saw earlier, Spawn has a better low attack that's completely safe on block. Alright everyone, and that's about it for Spawn. It's been a pretty long recording. I don't know how long the video is going to be overall, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like down below. It honestly does help the channel out a ton when you do that, and please post a comment as well. That helps the algorithm even more. And then if you haven't already, make sure to finish that combo by suplexing that subscribe button. That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.